Dear friends, we are meeting now for the second lecture on Kumarasambhavam. In this series of lectures, we will try to cover Sarga by Sarga. In the previous talk, we gave an overview of Kalidasa's Kumarasambhavam. In this lecture, we will be covering the first canto of Kumarasambhavam. The word Kumarasambhava refers to the birth. Sambhavam is birth of Kumara. The word Kumara stands for Shanmukha. In the Amarapusha, there is a list of names for Shanmukha. These are the words given there. Kartikeyo Mahasenaha Sharajanma Shadananaha Parvati Nandana Skandaha Senani Ragnikur Guhaha Bahuleyastaragajit Vishakha Shikhi Vahanaha Shanmatura Shaktidharaha Kumarah Kraunchadaranaha. As you can see, the word Kumara itself occurs there. He is also known as Mahasena, one who has a vast army. He is Parvati Nandana, son of Parvati. He is also the son of the 6 Kritikas. He is called Kartikeya. He is called Skanda, and he is also Senani. Senani means the commander-in-chief. And then Tarakajit, he is the person who conquers Taraka. But that is the very theme of Kumarasambhava. So Kumara therefore stands for Shanmukha in particular. The Kavya opens with the description of the Himalaya. In the Bhagavad Gita we find the reference to the greatness of the Himalaya in the words of Sri Krishna in the 10th chapter, where he lists his various vibhutis. He says, Sthavarana Himalaya, among the mountains I am Himalaya. And in this Kavya, we also find Ganga playing a role there. And the Bhagavad Gita says, Srotasam Asmi Janhavi, among the rivers I am the river Ganga. And among the commanders, I am Skanda, says Krishna. Senaninam aham Skanda. As we had broadly outlined the story of Kumarasambhavam, it is a case where a demon by name Taraka has acquired very great powers and has become a veritable tyrant. And as a consequence, he must be put to death. And otherwise, there will be no happiness in the world. Even the gods are tormented and tortured by Taraka, and therefore a solution for this has to be found. The divinities go to Brahma and ask for a solution. Brahma says, it is I who gave the boon to Taraka, and therefore it is not proper for me to kill him myself. And therefore, the person who can do this is Shiva himself. And even there, the peculiarity of the boon that Taraka has asked for is such that he can be killed only by a 7-day-old child, and it is only Lord Shiva who can give birth to such a powerful issue, and therefore he must approach Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was himself absorbed in penance, and therefore they think of taking the help of Manmatha, and the rest of the story is known to you. We will anyhow encounter the story as we pass from situation to situation. The opening shloka of this Kavya is also a very famous one. It says, Astyuttarasyam dishi devatatma himalayo nama nagadhirajaha Purvaparau toya nidhi vagahya sthita prithivya eva manadandaha. In the northern direction there is this mountain. He is actually the king of mountains, Nagadhirajaha. So by name Himalaya, and he is ensouled by divinity, Devatatma. And the expanse of this mountain is such that he is able to immerse himself in the depths of the eastern ocean and the western ocean. Purva Parau Toyenidhi Vagahya. And he stands, as it were, a measuring rod of the earth. Prithivyaha Manadandaha Iva. Meera, sing this verse. We usually commence all our transactions and communications with the word swasti. That was the traditional format. If you look into our inscriptions, they all begin with swasti. Swasti itself is formed of su and asti. So things are fine. So it's good. So that is the meaning of the word asti. It is said that the very Brahman is perceived in its three aspects essentially as asti, bhati and priyam. So asti means it is, and it just not merely is, it bhati, it shines, and it's not merely something shining, it's also something that's very attractive and very pleasing. So it makes us very happy. Priya. This can be considered as an alternative presentation of the concept of Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat speaks of existence, of being, Chit of consciousness, and Ananda of bliss. The shloka begins with the description of the Himalaya and says, Uttarasyam Dishi Devatatma Himalaya. The idea of India that our rishis had has this description of India. In the Vishnu Purana, we get a beautiful definition of India, the geographical definition. Westerners have been claiming that it is only the Britishers who gave us the concept of India. It's only because of the railways and the postal department that India came to be considered as one country. And earlier, there was nothing like India. So these have been coming in publications from institutions like Oxford University. Okay. On the other hand, if you look into Vishnu Purana, it says, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadreshchaiva dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharati yatra santatihi. So it defines the contours of India, saying that it's to the north of the ocean and to the south of the Himalaya. So Himalaya is a defining feature of this country. And in a way, it is Himalaya that has given birth to Indian culture. The Indian culture and civilization is a gift, as it were, of the Himalayas. So there is no child in India, at least there used to be no child in India who would not dream of the Himalayas and think of that place as the place where there are still many sages who are performing tapas in its many caves, so who remain unseen and unnoticed. So that is the kind of picture that even a child in India would have of this marvelous mountain. And Kalidasa says that this is no ordinary mountain. This is not a physical thing that we see. It is Devatatma. It's ensouled by divinity. And the expanse of this ocean, this mountain, is that it dips its feet into the eastern ocean and the western ocean. So it is so massive. And it is as it were a measuring rod of the entire earth. So you can take this as a symbolic expression of the way Indian culture is a sort of a measuring rod of other cultures and civilization, because the fundamental values of life have been looked into in this heritage as nowhere else. So this is the uniqueness of this great mountain, Himalaya, and the expanse of this. So the dictum of our great sages is to commence a work with a Mangala word. The word Asti is a Mangalika word. So in Patanjali's Mahabhashya, he says every great work begins with a Mangala. Mangaladini, Mangaladhyani, Mangalantani, Shastrani, Prathante, he says. And therefore, this is beginning with a Mangala word. It is said that even the first syllable, A, itself, is a Mangala. It is the first portion of Om, Pranava, which is the most important word. And A also is said to stand for Vishnu himself. And the role of Vishnu is Sthiti. Among the three functions of the divinities, namely Srishti, Sthiti and Laya, the function of Lord Vishnu is Sthiti. And the mountain Himalaya is also known for its Sthiti and its Sthiratva and the quality called Sthairya. And the Ramayana, Rama is compared to Himalaya, where he said Dhairya and Himavaniva, and therefore Dhairya and Sthairya are qualities of this great mountain. And it is this way that this mountain is an extraordinary mountain. There are a number of verses which give the description of this mountain. So something like 20 verses, 17 verses to be exact, that give the description of this mountain. We will not be able to cover all the 17 verses. We will be covering only a few of them. The second verse he says, Yam sarvashaila parikalpya vatsam merausthite dobhari dohadakshe bhasvanti ratnani mahaushadhischa prathupadishtam duduhur dharitve. So here there is a beautiful imagery of the earth itself as a cow, and then the cow herd is the mountain Meru, and Himavan is the son of Meru, and Himavan is the calf, and from this cow were milked some of the best of things in the world, namely glowing gems, Bhasvanti Ratnani, and also great herbs, Mahaushadhischa. So this all was done as per the direction of King Prithu. And therefore, this is a mountain that abounds in many gems and many minerals and many herbs. We all know in the Ramayana there is a story of how some important herbs are needed, and Hanuman comes to this place, the Himalaya, and gets the needed herbs. So we have the analogy of the cow, and then the cow herd, and then the calf, and so on, in the another famous verse where the Upanishads are compared to the cows. Sarvopanishado Gavaha, and Krishna is the cow herd, Dogdha Gopalanandanaha, Partho Vatsaha, Arjuna is the calf, Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahad. The milk that is milked from this cow is the Bhagavad Gita, and all wise men are the enjoyers of this nectar. Even so, this Himalaya is a place where some of the best of gems and the best of the herbs are to be found. It is also a place of strategic importance. India is surrounded on one side by the ocean. That way it's quite safe. It's not easily accessible to the enemies. And on the other side, by this vast range of mountains. So that also makes India very safe. It is as though nature has designed this country to be very safe because this is something very precious. My master used to tell me that even in the human body, there is this arrangement of keeping very precious things very safe. How is it done? If you look at the heart, which is the most important organ, it is encaged by the ribs, which are very strong, which protect it. The brain is also even more important, and the brain itself is protected by the skull, which is very hard. And therefore, these things protect very precious things. This is the very nature of things, the scheme of nature to shield very important things. And thus, India is a country which is naturally shielded by nature. Unfortunately, we have lost many precious portions of the Himalayas to the other countries, so they must certainly be regained one day, because that was how India was very naturally defined, and the historical developments in the recent 1 or 2 centuries should not blind us to the fact that these form an integral part of the country. In another verse, Kalidasa says that one could also point out a defect in this mountain. And what is this defect? The very name says it is Himalaya. Hima is snow, and Himalaya is a mansion of snow. Even though it is a mansion, because of the presence of the snow there, one of the best things that we all adore is put to a disadvantage on account of this snow. What's that? Lotuses do not bloom very well or very easily in snow. When it's the cold season especially, the lotuses are affected. The most beautiful representation of India is the lotus, the national flower, or else it is the lamp. And in our own institute, both are there in the emblem of our institute. IIT Madras has both symbols of the lotus and the flower and the lamp. Now, Kalidasa says, even though this mountain is a repository of numberless gems, Anantaratna Prabhavasyasya, Himam, the fall of the snow, the continuous fall of the snow, Saubhagya Vilopi Najatam. It did not detract from the greatness of this mountain. And he says, Ekohi dosho guna sannipate nimajjati indo kirane shivankaha. If you were to take this as a shortcoming on the part of the mountain, well, still it's a very minor one, he says. When there is a multitude of merits and virtues, if there is only one small demerit, it doesn't figure there at all. So, Ekohi doshana, but one drawback or defect, in the midst of numerous virtues, guna sannipate, it merges nimajjati. And he gives an analogy for that. There is no situation or idea for which Kalidasa cannot give an analogy. So the analogies come to him spontaneously. That's why it is reputed Upama Kalidasasya. And therefore he says, Indo Kirane Shiva Ankaha. When you look at the orb of the moon, especially on the day of the Purnima, the full moon night, so you can see that there are some marks. We now know that they are the marks of some of the rocks that are there, and it is that which is the cause for the dark spots. But earlier we used to think that there is indeed a dark spot. Sometimes it is portrayed as the mark of a deer, sometimes as the mark of a rabbit, and so on. These are nice poetic imaginations, and there are also certain other reasons for imagining those things. And Kalidasa says, but the presence of this mark is not because it is a black mark and a drawback for this mountain, because amidst a multitude of merits and positive things, this aspect of Hima being there is no great defect. This is also a mountain where the hunters have their own joys to pursue. The hunters have a problem. They want to hunt down lions there, but they cannot seek the pug marks and the footprints of the lions there, because even when they have attacked elephants there, the mark of the blood stain doesn't show itself there, and that is because the continuous fall of the snow, and it all gets submerged within that, and therefore it's not to be seen there at all. But still, the Kiratas or the hunters there are able to find out the marks of the feet of the lions not through the foot marks, but through another special feature. Kalidasa says that the elephants are attacked by lions, and on the Kumbhasthala, the temple region of the elephant, there are certain gems, they are called, there are some pearls. It is said that certain portions of the bones of the elephants are considered as having the value of pearls, and when lions attack those elephants, some of those pearls spill down, and those pearls, they can be spotted because the blood stains will be washed away by the fall of the snow, but not so the pearls that are fallen there, here and there, and the Kiratas or the hunters are able to trace the place where lions are through those marks. Padam tushara stuti dhautaraktam yasmin drishtva vihatad vipanam vidanti margam nakharandra muktaihi mukta phalaihi kesarinam Kirata. He also says that the bhurja trees there, birchbark trees there, are ones that provide leaves which are useful for writing love letters for the Vidyadharas. And he also shows how the whole mountain is full of fragrance, and the wind that blows there is also something very enjoyable there. It has the properties of Shaitya, Mandya and Saurabha. So Shaitya is the gentle breeze that blows there, and then the Shaitya is the coolness of the breeze, Mandya is the slowness, the gentleness of the breeze, and the fragrance is the Saurabha. Because of the Devadaru trees, we find the wind wafting there is very fragrant, and because of the abundance of peacocks there, you find that the wind that blows is slowed down on account of that, and on account of the Bhagirathi or the river Ganga flowing there, the wind that blows is quite cool. So these are some of the features of the beautiful breezes, the enjoyable breezes in the Himalayan mountain. And Kalidasa says that this place has, from the spiritual point of view, a very high pedestal. This occupies a high pedestal. Yajnanga yonitvam avekshayasya saram dharitvi dharana kshamancha prajapati kalpite yajna bhagam shailadhipatyam swayam anutishthati. This mountain was considered the best of mountains. So, because this is a Yajnanga yoni, it says some of the most important items that are required for the performance of yajnas are to be found here. So, the Somalata is to be found here. Similarly, the items for summits called Khadira, so that is also to be found here. So, this way, this is a very sacred mountain, and it is for this reason that this mountain, Himalaya himself, was given an opportunity to partake of the offerings made to the various divinities. And yajna is a most sacred activity. It is that which elevates a person to a higher position. There is a word for yajna in Sanskrit called makha. The word makha is a variant of maha. So whenever we offer ourselves to something higher and nobler, that becomes a makha. And therefore, it is this region which is full of such requirements that are needed for the performance of a yajna. So he says the mountain is Yajnanga Yoni, and Prajapati gave this a special place.
यस्य यज्ञाङ्गयोनिमवेक्ष्य यज्ञाङ्गयोनित्वमवेक्ष्य यस्य सारं धरित्रीधरणक्षमम् अवेक्ष्य प्रजापतिः कल्पितयज्ञभागम् शैलाधिपत्यं स्वयम् अन्वतिष्ठत् प्रजापतिः कल्पितयज्ञभागम् शैलाधिपत्यं स्वयमन्वतिष्ठत् प्रजापति स्वयं शैलाधिपत्यम् अन्वतिष्ठत् प्रजापतिरन्वतिष्ठत्.
After the description of the Himalayan mountain, he begins the story. Himalaya married, so the name of his wife is Meena, and Meena is Muninamavi Mananiya, one who is honored by the sages themselves because she is shown in our Puranas as a yogini and a Brahmavadini, so herself knowledgeable about Brahmavadini. Therefore, the Vishnu Purana says, Menaka and Harini were Ubde Ubhe Brahmavadinyau Yoginyau cha Hibhe Vija. So these two are Brahmavadinis and Yoginis. And after marriage with her, she gave birth to Mainaka, a son, and to Parvati. And who this Parvati was, Kalidasa recollects in a very brief manner in a single shloka. So this Parvati is said as Dakshayani. Dakshayani is the son of Daksha. And Daksha Prajapati was very angry with his own son-in-law named Shiva. Why was he angry? That was because he felt that Shiva did not show him regard in the manner he expected. So, however, Shiva himself showed respect to Daksha, but Daksha was full of arrogance, did not notice that, and thought that he has been insulted. Perhaps all Prajapatis have this problem. Prajapatis are creators, and those who are endowed with some creativity also have a tinge of ego, thinking that they are very special people. Of course, one can very easily agree with this, going by the style of artists today. So who claim all sorts of freedom, exclusive freedom for themselves, and behave in a very arrogant manner. And therefore, this Daksha Prajapati was also very arrogant, and therefore he thought that Shiva has not shown him due respect. And therefore, once he performed a yajna, to which he intentionally did not invite Shiva, and this made Shiva rather unhappy, but he would not mind that. And Dakshayani, however, the daughter of Daksha, so she was very particular that they must attend the yajna. So Shiva advised her, when your father has not invited, why should we go? So it's better not to go. And she said, no, it's my father who is doing it, I would very much like to go. Shiva cautioned her that all will not be well if we go there, if we go uninvited. There is a saying in Sanskrit, when some great work is going on, it does not matter if there is no invitation, you must still go. This is applied in fact to the performance of yajna itself. Anahuto adhvaram gache, they say. So even if you are not invited, if some yaga is taking place, well, you don't need an invitation, you can just go there. But this was not the case here. Here it was an intentional insult by Daksha. And therefore, even though Shiva advised Parvati not to stir and not to go and attend the yajna, so this Dakshayani was very much particular, and she said she will go. And Shiva cautioned her, and still she went there. her father did not treat her well. She was not even received properly. And the insult meant for Shiva was very conspicuous there. And upon being very much ill-treated, Dakshayani became extremely angry and extremely sorrowful. And she quit that place. Rather than coming back to Shiva, she went away, and with yogic fire generated within herself, so she destroyed her body. So Kalidasa says, Sati Sati Yoga Visrishta Deha Tam Janmane Shailarukhum Prapede. So she was actually the earlier, the Dakshayani, thus quit her body like that, and she was reborn as Parvati. Athavanena Pituh Prayukta, for the insult on the insult from my father. Dakshasya Kanya, the daughter of Daksha, Bhavapurva Patni, was the earlier wife of Shiva himself. Sati Sati Yoga Visrishta Deha. So we have seen, for example, in the Ramayana, how Sharadhanga abandons his body. This is a concept that is unknown in the West. So they have absolutely no idea of the inner secrets of consciousness, and therefore they just cannot understand what Kalidasa says. For example, the kings of the Raghu race, he says, Yogenante Tanutyajam. They could quit their body through yoga. See, when we die only involuntarily. Nobody can die voluntarily. So it's only in the case of Bhishma we see that he chose to die at a particular time. Okay, this kind of being able to exercise control over one's own prana is not there in any country, in any civilization. In fact, the expression for leaving one's prana, so quitting that, discharging that, so even that expression obtains only in Sanskrit. Pranams tyajati. So most of us die willy-nilly, whether we like it or not, we have to die. So when the breath leaves us, so the expression for that is also there in Sanskrit. Prana is tyaktaha. So we can't leave our body voluntarily, but it's only in our heritage, in the yogic heritage, that even that is shown to be possible. So by proper control of the breath and attaining higher levels of consciousness, one can exercise control over even these things. So that was how Sati abandoned her body, and she has now taken recourse to being born as the daughter of Himavan and Meera.
अथावमानेन पितुः प्रयुक्ता दक्षस्य कन्या भवपूर्वपत्नी अथ अवमानेन पितुः प्रयुक्ता दक्षस्य कन्या भवपूर्वपत्नी
The very moment of the birth of Parvati bore auspicious features. So he says, Prasannadik, so the various directions were all clear, and Pamshu Vivipta Vadam, the wind was dust free. The dust in the wind is symbolic of Rajas or Rajoguna, because the word Rajas also means dust. So even that was very enjoyable. Shankhasvanantara Pushpa Vrishti, there were heard the sounds of conches, and there was a shower of flowers from the sky. Sharirinam Sthavara Jangamanam Sukhaya Tad Janmadinam Babhuva. The birthday, the actual day of birth of Parvati was something that augured well for all beings, so which move and which do not move. Sthavara and Jangama, the two types of beings. The plants and the trees, so these are all living beings which cannot move. They are called Sthavara. And all other living beings that move, they are called Jangama. So it was something that would bid them all something good. And the naming ceremony of Parvati. There is an interesting verse here. Tam Parvati Yabhijanena Namna Bandhupriyam Bandhujano Juhav. All the relatives of Parvati would call her Parvati. She was so called because she is the daughter of Parvata. So Parvata is the father, Himavan, and Parvatasya apatyam stri would become Parvati. So it's called a patronymic in English. So a name derived after the name of the father. So this is what everybody called her, but she came to be famous as Uma, and that was because her mother, this is a fanciful derivation given by Kalidasa, her mother called her Uma, and that became the more famous word. So why did she call her Uma? The poet says, Umeti matra tapaso nishiddha. Later on, she would perform tapas, and tapas is a very difficult thing, and therefore, tender-hearted that the mother was, she would naturally like to have her daughter leading a comfortable life and not undergo the difficulties or the austerities. And therefore, she said, O Parvati. The word for O in Sanskrit is U. So, U means O, Ma means don't. So, O Ma, O Parvati, don't take up this tapas which is not easy for you, because she is a royal, princess, and therefore it's not very easy for her, and therefore because of her consideration for her daughter, she wanted to prevent Parvati from taking up this arduous task, and because she said Ma, so Parvati came to be known as Uma. Of course, Kalidasa also knows that this is a fanciful derivation. We already come across this name in Kenopanishad. So there we have the expression Uma Haimavati. So there also that she is Haimavati is very clearly remembered. Haimavati stands for the daughter of Himavan, and therefore that is also a patronymic. So this is a very general patronymic. So Parvati the name Parvati being derived from the word Parvata is also because her father is a Parvata. So this name is a patronymic, and going by the specific name, he is called Himavan. So she becomes Haimavati, and there she is shown to be none else than Parabrahman, the Supreme Brahman itself, and therefore it's only that aspect that is shown there. So Kalidasa shows, giving a fanciful etymology of the word, he says, Umeti matra tapaso nishiddha paschadamakhyam sumati jagama. And on account of the birth of Parvati, there was a great joy in the palace, and Himavan himself became more fortunate on account of this birth. Kalidasa says that he became sanctified on account of the birth of Parvati, Tayasa Putascha, and also adorned Vibhushitascha, and he gives three analogies. So Kalidasa can give any number of analogies for even the most intricate situations. So he gives three analogies here. Prabha Mahatya Shikhayeva Deepa, the Deepa, the lamp, so which becomes beautiful. So its beauty is enhanced by the Shikha, the tip of the flame, so which has great brightness. Prabha Mahatya Shikhayeva Deepa. Note that even the genders tally here. There's a good corroboration of genders in Sanskrit when an analogy is given. So there is a one-to-one correspondence between the items of the Upamana and the items of the Upameya. So Parvata is masculine, Deepaha is masculine, then Shikha is feminine, Parvati is feminine, and therefore on account of the Shikha, so the Deepa glows. So similarly on account of Parvati, Himavan has now become even more great. Trimargayeva Tridivasya Margaha, and the heavenly tract, Tridivasya Margaha, so that became both sanctified and adorned by the flow of the Ganges, Trimargaya Iva. Ganga is called Trimarga because she, or Tripathaga, so because she flows in three regions, so in the heaven, in the mortal world, and into the Patala. So Swarga, Martya and Patala, where she gets the names respectively as Mandakini, Bhagirathi and Bhogavati. These are the three names of the Ganga. So Mandam Akati. So water flows very gently in her descent from the heavens. She flows very gently, so she is called Mandakini. And when Bhagirath brought her, she came with great force. She is called Bhagirathi, and she enters the nether world. She is called Bhogavati. So the birth of Parvati is one more analogy. Samskaravatyeva gira manishi, like a wise man who would be both sanctified and adorned by a speech which has samskaras. The Samskrita bhasha itself, so is called Samskaravati Gihi. So this is something that ennobles us, and it is an adornment for ourselves, because the richness of poetry in Sanskrit is most enjoyable. The spiritual richness of Sanskrit is also something that has no match in the world. So the amount of literature, I have referred to this in the previous talk also, the amount of literature yet to be published in Sanskrit, so it's lying in various Oriental libraries in India, runs to 30 million. So it's not some 3,000 or 30,000 manuscripts, 30 million manuscripts. So it is going by the figures given by the government of India. So 30 million manuscripts are there, yet to be published. So such is the, in spite of our own libraries being set to fire by whom. So in spite of all that, so such a vast literature still remains, and this ennobles a man. An exposure to Sanskrit ennobles a man. And the childhood of Parvati is also described. And even as a small child, she had her Vidyabhyasa. And when she did her Vidyabhyasa, all the Vidyas, or the laws of knowledge, came to her with utmost ease, with no great difficulty. What's the reason? How was she such a fast learner? Kalidasa gives the reason. Tam hamsamala sharadiva gangam mahaushadhim naktamivatmabhasaha sthilopadesham upadeshakale prapedire praktana janma vidyaha. So in order to show the ease with which the various branches of knowledge were acquired by her, he gives the analogy of the rows of royal swans that come to the river Ganga during the autumnal season. Hamsa malaha sharadi, in the Sharad Gangam Iva, as they approach the river Ganga, they spontaneously come there. So without Ganga putting forth any effort on its part for inviting the Hamsas themselves come to her. Mahaushadhim naktamivatmabhasaha, and the various herbs, so which are luminescent, themselves come during the night, into the Mahaushadhi. Sthilopadesham upadeshakale prapedire praktana janma vidya. The various vidyas that she had learned in her previous birth, they came to her spontaneously, because the knowledge that she had acquired had registered itself very clearly and firmly in her mind. Sthilopadesham upadeshakale prapedire praktana janma vidya. So all the knowledges that she had acquired in her previous birth naturally came to her spontaneously. in some 17 verses, there is a description of Parvati as she grew into her youth. So the young lady Parvati is described in so many verses. So we do not have time to go through all the verses, and you can read them yourselves. So the book Kumarasambhavam is available online, and you can look into the translation of these verses and enjoy the beauty of Parvati being described. I will pay attention to only one verse which says, Brahma wanted to see what would be the most beautiful thing in the world, and therefore, whenever you make something beautiful, you think of a comparison. This should be as beautiful as this. So you take all those best of paradigms and put in one place, and that would be Parvati. Sarvopama dravya samuchayena yatha pradesham viniveshitena sa nirmita vishwasraja prayatnat ekastha saundarya didriksha eva. So it is on account of a desire, didriksha, or desire to see. So all beauty in one place. Ekastha saundarya didriksha eva. Brahma put forth conscious efforts. So prayatnat. So he put all things beautiful in the appropriate places. Sarvopama dravya samuchayena yatha pradesham viniveshitena. So that was Parvati. So as she grew up into a young girl, one day Narada came to their house. So Tam Naradaha Kamacharah Kadachit. Narada is known to be moving from place to place. So he cannot sit in one place. And it is he who brings things about. Of course, one title that he has earned is Narada Kalahapriyaha. So you should not say Narado Kalahapriyaha because some rules required. So that you must say Narada Kalahapriyaha. So he brings about some quarrel between some two parties and so on. But ultimately speaking, it is all for the good of the world that he does things. So it's only apparently that he creates trouble. So he is not a trouble creator, he is actually a troubleshooter. So he solves problems, and some problems which keep pending, so not solved for a long time. So he acts as a catalyst and a promoter, and that's how he does things. So when things are not moving, he acts as the promoter there. And here, Narada came to the place of Himavan, and he saw Parvati by the side of her father, and then he said, this girl is no ordinary girl. And he said, she is going to marry Shiva, and so intense would her love be that she will actually become a part of the very person of Shiva. So he says, Tam Naradaha Kamacharaha means moving freely about. Kadachit Kanyam Kila Preksha Pitus Samipe Samadhi Desha. He predicted that Eka Vadhu Bhavitri, she will become the single wife of Shiva. Premna, and on account of her love, such a great love that she will be able to get in her life. Sharirartha Haram Harasya, she will become half the person of Shiva. So when husband and love are very loving towards each other, they will often be or generally be found together. But the inseparability that Shiva and Parvati attain by being in one form, in one body, that can never be attained by anybody else. No ordinary love it is, and therefore she will become Ekavadhu, the one wife of Lord Shiva, and Sharirartha Haram Harasya, so intense her love is.
Narada Samadhi समादिदेश प्रेम्णा हरस्य शरीरार्थहरा भवित्री हरस्य एकवधूं भवित्री तां कन्यां प्रेक्ष्य नारद समादिदेश नारदः समादिदेश.
Whenever Narada comes and goes, there will be some tricky situation. Now, the difficult situation with Himavan was, he was noticing that Parvati was growing up and her marriage must be arranged. However, he would not like to give it to anybody else than Shiva, because he knew that Shiva was the best person to whom she must be given. But at the same time, if Shiva would not come and ask, how can he go and ask? So, ayachitaram nahi deva devam adrissutam grahayitum shashaka. And therefore, he also had the fear. Suppose he goes and asks Shiva, would you marry my daughter? Suppose he says no, it will be a great embarrassment and an insult. But therefore, abhyarthana bhanga bhayena, on account of the fear that the request may be rejected, madhyasthyam ishtepi avalambate arthe. So he remained somewhat neutral. So in his heart of hearts, he wanted that somehow this marriage should take place, also because Narada had very clearly indicated that this will be the best choice for her and she is destined to be that. But how is this to be brought about? So, because Shiva herself, on the other hand, subsequent to the incident of Dakshayani being no more, he looked, so he is generally known as Vairagya Sampanna, and therefore he was now even more so. So, Vimukta Sangaha, Patih Pushunam, Aparigraho Bhut. So, he was utterly indifferent to the worldly things, and he was there in one of the regions of the Himalayas, but he was so indifferent to all worldly things that it was not easily possible to think of any alliance for a daughter with him. And however, what was he doing in the Himalayan region? So in the Himalayan region, he himself used to perform the yajna, and he himself used to perform tapas. And this was very puzzling. Being the Lord of divinities, for what purpose should he do tapas? Because generally one takes up tapas with some idea in mind, with some goal, something unaccomplished, something to be obtained. So, what is it that is to be obtained by Shiva? Tatragni madhaya samit samidham swameva murtyantaram ashtamurtihi swayam vidhata tapasaphalana kenapi kamena tapaschakara. He says he had Agni before him. Shiva has 8 forms, among which Agni is also one. So the 5 bhutas, namely Prithvi, Up, Tejas, Vayu and Akasha, and then Surya and Chandra and Yajamana. All these constitute 8 bodies of Shiva. What is the significance of these 8 bodies of Shiva? I'll explain in some other future lecture. So there is a reference to the Ashtamurti aspect of Shiva in the 6th canto also. So maybe in that context I'll explain what do these 8 forms mean. So in that form of the 5, he himself was offering tapas and offering the samit and was himself performing tapas. In fact, he is the very Lord who confers boons upon those who perform tapas. Swayam vidhata tapasat phalanam kenapi kamena tapaschakara. It's as though Kalidasa himself is puzzled, or Kalidasa doesn't want to reveal. So he says, for some reason he was himself performing tapas.
तत्राग्निमाधाय स्वमेव मूर्त्यन्तरम् अष्टमूर्तिः तत्र अग्निमाधाय समिद्धमग्निमाधाय स्वमेव मूर्त्यन्तरम् अष्टमूर्तिः स्वयं विधाता तपसः फलानां विधाता तपसः फलानां स्वयं केनापि कामेन तपश्चचार विधाता तपश्चचार अष्टमूर्तिस्तपश्चचार तपसः फलानां स्वयं विधाता केनापि कामेन तपश्चचार
When the Lord has come to the regions that belong to Himavan, he would naturally go and speak to him and give him a good welcome and all that. He even offered his worship for the guest that has come there. And he appointed his own daughter along with her friends to serve Lord Shiva during his tapas. So, Aradhanayasya Sakhi Sametam Samadhidesha Prayatam Tanujam. And Shiva could have said, no, I do not want this. However, he allowed Parvati serving him. So, when a person is seriously absorbed in tapas, the presence of a woman is a distraction. It can be a distraction. And she can be considered an obstacle for the pursuit of tapas. However, Shiva did not mind that. Pratyarthi bhutam apitam samadhehe shushrushamanam girisho anumene. He permitted her coming and serving there. And in this context, Kalidasa says, Vikara hetau sati vikriyante yesham na chetam sita eva dhira. He gives a beautiful definition of who a dhira is, who a courageous person is. So he says, most of the times, we are all good people. We are good as long as we do not come across temptations. So when there is nothing to tempt us, we feel we are nice people, we are good people, we are noble people. It's only when there are testing moments that our true character is revealed. There is a nasty verse in Sanskrit which says, Alabhyatvat parasvanam narasarvepi nispruhaha. All men are nispruha, means they never set their eyes upon the riches of others, because all others keep their items under lock. Okay, because they are not easily available, and therefore you can consider yourself, I have never stolen anything, because everybody has kept everything locked, so we have no access to things. And it goes even worse, it says, Alabhad avakashasya sarvanarya pativrata. So all women are considered to be pativrata because they don't get any opportunity to be otherwise. So there is a Vyakhyana used to say, most people are gentlemen because of policemen. That happens to be the situation with most people. So, if in spite of trying circumstances, a person is not tempted, a person does not go astray, that is the true mark of a dhira. And Kalidasa says, Vikara hetau sati. So even when there are occasions that can detract you, that can pull you down, that can make you stray from the path of virtue, still vikriyante yesham na chetamsi. Those persons whose mind undergoes no change whatsoever. So taeva dhira, it's only such persons who can be called dhiras. So Lord Shiva was the foremost among such persons, and therefore the presence of Parvati would in no way affect his tapas. So Parvati herself engaged in the activities of serving Lord Shiva. So she would go and collect flowers, avajita bali pushpa, vedi sammarga daksha, and she would sweep clean the Yajna Vedi where he used to perform. Niyam Vidhi Jalanam Barhisham Chopaneti, she would bring waters or the darbha grants that are required there. Girisham Upachachar Pratyahamsa Sukeshi Niyamita Parikheda Sachiras Chandrapadagi. Though she would work hard and serve Shiva, so she would not feel tired because of the cool rays issuing from the moon on the crest of Lord Shiva, says Kalidasa. So with this ends Canto 1. So we stop here. So in the next installment, we will take up Canto 2. So Canto 2 and Canto 3 and Canto 5. These three sargas are the most charming ones of this kavya, Kalidasa's Kumarasambhavam. Every canto has its own beauty, and yet these three, the second and the third. So I may not be able to cover the third one in a single lecture because there's so many interesting ideas. So some of the very deep philosophical ideas also. How Kalidasa is able to present some of the most deep philosophical ideas in the context of poetry, we can look into in our next talks.